2020 continues with Elizabeth Vargas.
And the Detroit Pistons, wow, have just shocked the Los Angeles Lakers to win the NBA title.
The NBA is a high-stakes, multi-billion-dollar game. 24 of the 50 top-paid athletes in the world play in this league. But increasingly, the best players on the court are landing in court.
If it was that easy, everybody'd have one.
LA Laker Kobe Bryant, star player, role model.
I'm innocent.
Accused rapist making regular visits to a Colorado courtroom.
Obey your thirst.
Portland Trailblazer Damon Stoudemire on TV selling soda. Stoudemire arrested for possession of marijuana. He pled not guilty. His trial is pending.
Check them out, it's the new A5s.
Philadelphia 76ers Allen Iverson promoting sneakers, earning $50 million in endorsements. Allen Iverson surrendering to police on weapons violations charges, later dismissed. While none of these players has yet been convicted, they are already sending a contrasting message to the kids who idolize them. Jamal Boykin hopes to play in the NBA.
It's almost like it's good to be bad. Players, who come from the hood and, live in poverty and everything, so they connect better with him than with the guy who might have been, raised rich and, everything like that.
Writer Jeff Benedict says the bad boy image isn't the only problem. He argues that aspiring players learn early on that athletic talent can buy privileges.
If you're in high school and you are the blue chip athlete that everybody knows could one day land in the NBA, you get treated very differently when you're in school. You can fudge on your grades. You don't have to show up. There are people who are willing to do things for you.
So the preferential treatment starts early on, and the lessons aren't learned, basically. You've never had somebody say, no, you can't do that, or yes, you have to be accountable?
Well, they learn some lessons, but the lessons they learn are, essentially, I can do whatever I want, as long as I'm good enough to deliver on the court.
Over his 16-year career in the NBA, A.C. Green saw a destructive pattern repeated again and again when young players join the league.
What happens a lot is that a monster is always created. And unfortunately, that monster, believing that you are invincible, you start to believe your own press. And that's the beginning of the end. The NBA needs to be worried, absolutely.
The NBA does seem to be worried about drug use anyway. 5 players have been thrown out of the league for using illegal narcotics over the last 20 years. But remember Ruben Patterson? He continued to play, even after pleading guilty to sexually assaulting his nanny. But then 4 months later, this emergency call.
What's your name?
Shannon. My husband is Ruben Patterson.
All right. And is he still there?
Yeah.
Where is he?
But I need to leave. I need to leave. He just tried to choke.
Shannon told police she had been abused by Patterson for 6 years. She later dropped the charges.
It broke my heart. He should have been in jail. He should never have been given the opportunity to hurt another woman again. And he was.
The NBA did punish Patterson for his conviction by suspending him for 5 games. Billy Hunter, head of the NBA Players Association and a former prosecutor, is the players' most powerful advocate when they get into legal trouble.
Obviously been incidents, and we're obviously concerned about it, and we try to address it.
Why not, the minute a player is convicted, whether it be a felony or a misdemeanor of some sort of violent crime?
Because that's too harsh. I think you have to distinguish between someone being charged and someone being convicted.
Ruben Patterson was convicted. He's a registered sex offender.
Ruben Patterson was convicted of a misdemeanor.
It's still a sex crime. He's a registered sex offender.
It's a misdemeanor. Ruben Patterson lost about $500,000.
$500,000 to a man who just signed a $33 million contract. No. That's nothing. Do you think that's a fair punishment?
I'm not going to run from that one. What can I do?
Sprewell comes away with a steal.
Compare Patterson's 5-game suspension to this. The NBA suspended then Golden State Warrior Latrell Sprewell for nearly a year after he attacked and choked his coach. It cost Sprewell $6.4 million in lost income.
Latrell Sprewell, for example, was suspended for 68 games for assaulting his coach. Why is Ruben Patterson suspended for only 5 games for sexually assaulting a woman?
Well, the combination. First of all, the collective bargaining agreement distinguishes between on-court and off-court activity.
Both were treated as off-court infractions.
Okay. But in the case of Latrell Sprewell, it was an act of assault that was engaged in the presence of a group of players. And obviously, if you don't address that, the whole team, the whole administration becomes somewhat defunct.
Critics argue that shows the NBA is more concerned with preserving team discipline than preventing violence toward women. Kathy Redmond is an advocate for women abused by athletes.
Raping someone, beating up your spouse, cheating on your wife does not affect the cohesion of the team, so that's okay and we'll protect that. Violence off the court doesn't affect the game.
The NBA maintains it does punish players convicted of crimes. It does fine them. It does suspend them for games.
I think you have to ask yourself, is this really about sending a message to these players?
Well, what message does that send, in your opinion?
I think it sends a message that this isn't very serious. I mean, we got games to play.
Get wide as you can. Use your span.
In an effort to educate young players about life in the NBA, the Players Association brings the country's best high school players to a summer camp. Seminars on ethics, women, and finances help prepare these NBA hopefuls for the challenges ahead.
How's she going to feel if you say that to her?
But can a week of classes really prepare players for the pressure of an NBA career?
I'm actually surprised that there's not more crime. You take the average man at age 20 and give him millions of dollars and tell him he has no responsibility, surround him with women that are willing to give and do things for him, that whatever he wants, handlers all around him who are paid large sums of money to make his life easy, and expect that guy to be disciplined when someone says no.
Charles Barkley was famously quoted when he was still playing professional basketball as saying, "I'm not anybody's role model." Do you think NBA players do have any responsibility to be a role model?
I do. I want to say it as loud as I can say it. It's imperative for professional athletes, especially black athletes, to be positive role models for all of those children in our respective communities and across the board who look up to them. There's no question about it.
No question about their talent. The question is, what is the message behind the scandals and successes for the next generation of NBA players? On the court and off, their conduct will shape the future of the game.
We've been warned about the women and the drugs and everything like that. And right now, morally, I'm a good kid, and I want to keep it that way.
I'll play for any team in the league. It doesn't matter, because that's my ultimate dream, just make the NBA.
The best part of if you do make the NBA would be the treatment that you would receive. I mean, first class, everything.
More money than anybody can ever dream of. You can do anything that you want to do.